Welcome back to G1 Insider, where I interview and get to know all of the cool kids at G1. This week's victim is Potato, but before we get to Potato's truths and one lie, before Potato lies to my face, we're gonna talk about Nogi. He said some truths and he said one lie, and that lie was that he's not super into poetry, which kind of shocked me because I thought, you know, a man of culture. I would have thought. Anyway, Potato, welcome. I just would like to point out before we get started that both of us have our tramp score in our emblems. 69,420. I see you are also a man of culture.
Yep.
Like myself. We're gonna do Spooky Forests just to have some background stuff, and I'm gonna hit you with some questions, and then you're gonna hit me. Let's start out strong with
can I just say something first off?
Yeah, absolutely.
You gotta put a mask on in real life and in game. You gotta put a mask on for the quest.
Oh yeah. I better do that before I forget. Man, my mask is my favorite part of my ensemble. Now I look like an idiot. Thank you for reminding me to put a mask on. I would have done that whole game and then been like, F. All right, so start us off with the first factoid about you. Could be truthful, could be lie.
I was born in Russia, not in America, and I still speak Russian in the house.
What? Dude, I hope that's a truth because that is super awesome. As Travel Danielle, you know I like other countries and people who have different backgrounds, so let's see if that was a lie. I will feel sad if that is. Somehow I'm emotionally attached to that fact already.
That's what makes a good lie. Look at your name and, you know.
Yeah, true. You try and appeal to my likes already. Okay, so if you were given your own nighttime talk show, who would be your first guest?
How difficult would it be to get these guests?
You're the biggest property. You could get anyone. People are dying to get on your show.
Hard question to answer, to be honest. Outside of video games, I don't really do much. So
yeah,
it would have to be
Ninja. No.
No, I'd say someone from Counter-Strike. Like from when I was initially starting to play Counter-Strike, Get was like the person that I looked up to the most. So probably him. It's a player from NIP, which you probably don't know who they are.
I don't. I'm just now starting to kind of be familiar with esports, and especially like I never played Counter-Strike, but now with Valorant and there's so much overlap, I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. Yeah. Okay, if you're gonna sail around the world, say somebody was like, you need to sail around the world, or it was your biggest passion, what would be the name of your boat?
I don't even know how to start with that. Like,
here's a good one that doesn't require too much specifics. Do you name inanimate objects? Like, does your car have a name?
No, I haven't named a single inanimate object in my life.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
What the heck was that? Man, this game, it's been a while. I'm like, oh yeah, teleporting melees. Right. I'm not gonna do G1 proud in this game, so just everyone get on board for that. Okay, so if you could be part of one fictional family, who would it be?
Is it bad to answer that I don't know any fictional families?
No fictional families? Okay, so that sparks a whole nother couple of questions. You know, the Addams Family, or the Jetsons, or the Sopranos, or any of those?
No. Are the Jetsons? No, I don't know. I thought those were the Flintstones for a second, but then I don't. That's the only one I know.
Similar style, vein of cartoons.
It's hard answering a lot of these questions because I don't really do much outside of playing video games.
Video games? Okay.
Like I don't watch TV. I don't watch shows or anything at all.
I'm not a huge TV person, although in the break we have been watching a ton more. I'm still on the Striker Titan that we did for.
Yeah, I remember I saw the same thing in Nogi's video as well.
I'm kind of having fun with it.
Seem to be a Titan main now.
Yeah, I go back and forth. Like, I was a Warlock main in all D1, then I was a Hunter main for most of D2, and then like in the last year, just to switch it up, it was like, let's try all of them. Well, while we're headed to Haunted Forest, let's hear factoid potential non-truth number 2.
So about 5-6 years ago, I think, when I first moved to Staten Island, we had a neighborhood rabbit that was in one of my neighbor's backyards, about 2 houses down, named Oscar, I believe it was. And he actually got lost like 3 months after I moved in. Never found him again.
So the whole neighborhood owned a rabbit?
So there was one person that owned a rabbit, but she let everyone go and see it and play with it.
That's actually so cute. More neighborhoods should have mascots, I think. Do you have any pets?
That we'll get to later.
Oh shoot, I'm jumping ahead in the curriculum. Okay, here's a good one. So, there's a zombie apocalypse coming, and it's already broken out. You have to pick your zombie apocalypse team from the members of G1. Who are you picking? Who are you taking into the apocalypse?
First off, I'm taking Savage, of course.
Yeah. I feel like that's a given.
How big does the team have to be?
We'll do fire team. So I guess 2 people, you and 2 other people.
Okay, so first off, Savage, of course. Second, I would have to say, I'm thinking Panda, to be honest. I mean, have you seen the workout videos he's been doing? He's been on the grind recently.
Yeah, no kidding. I know by the time the zombie apocalypse hits, he'll be so effing jacked. He'll give Savage a run for his money. That's a good answer. I was thinking Savage, of course. And then I was thinking Gigs because he's pretty resourceful and also he's a kind of a skinny kid, so he's gonna survive a long time because he doesn't eat a lot.
Yeah, but then
And
you run
also
out of food and that hits him faster than, you know, someone who's a bit bigger who can survive a bit longer under reserves.
You know what? You bring up a lot of good points. But nobody's gonna try and eat him. Okay, so if you were left on a deserted island and you could have your worst enemy or somebody who like really effing annoys you. I mean, who has a worst enemy these days? Unless you do. Do you have a worst enemy? You'd have to name names.
I mean, I think the Destiny community, you know, has a few worst enemies.
That's true. Good point. So if you could be on a desert island with them or no one, would you pick to have at least someone as company or would you rather be alone?
Definitely no one at that point, to be honest. I mean, apart from the, you know, the fact that I don't like them, it's also more people. It means you have to find more food and stuff.
I don't really have a worst enemy, and so I would just kind of think of somebody who annoyed me. But now that you've said, like, Destiny community, some people that I'm thinking in my brain right now, I'm like, oh, would I rather be alone? Have you ever rocked an embarrassing fashion trend?
I would say that the only thing I wear is this same color shirt. I have a full wardrobe of just black shirts. So, yeah, that's definitely not.
Definitely not, because black is always in fashion and always like simple and clean in my opinion. Okay, so when did you start playing video games? Tell me a little bit. We'll do kind of the traditional like, tell me your background and story.
In terms of video games, I don't even remember when I started. It was a long time ago. Probably when I was like 6 or 7 years old. First video games I remember was on like the PlayStation 2 where it was the, I'm not sure what the names were, but it was some old racing games. But in terms of like actually playing competitively, or not competitively, but you know, trying to win, I remember the first time I ever had the desire to win was in Call of Duty Black Ops actually, where they had this thing called wager matches where you would go in and you would wager a certain amount of the currency in the game. And you know, after getting shit on in that, I kind of just wanted to get better.
Nice. You're like, I don't want to lose any more money. The only game I remember I feel like was on the PS2 that I played was Jet Moto, which was like a jet ski racing game. And I feel like nobody else remembers it. I didn't actually have a PS2. My brother had one, and so I would sneak games on his. Okay, so I know video games take up the most portion of your time, but if you were forced to do some kind of entertaining activity, let's say the whole internet goes down, what would you do in your spare time?
So the whole internet goes down, right? So there's no way to communicate with other people.
Yep. Got to do some kind of traditional activity like, you know, painting or board games or I don't know.
At that point, I'd honestly just go to reading books, to be honest.
Nice. Do you enjoy books in any capacity or just because like you got nothing else going on?
No, there's a lot of books that I enjoyed reading. It's just that they're not as enjoyable as other things I could be doing at the time. But I definitely had times where I would rather read than play video games, and I was really invested into a book. It's just that I don't really start new books ever to get invested into them anymore.
Nice. Yeah, reading is my main other thing. That's why I don't really watch TV, because if I'm doing something else besides video games, it's books. Oh no, wait, we're at the boss. So tell me one more. Truth or non-truth?
So after the rabbit actually got lost, we decided that we wanted a new pet. So we got a pet cat. We called him Oreo because he is a black cat with some white like stripes on him.
I love the idea of neighborhood pets. I think we should start it up. We should have a G1 pet. Okay, well, I feel like you've given yourself away with those because they feel like they go together, which makes them seem more plausible, but I could be wrong.
You never know.
Now that I'm in this spooky forest and it's like, you know, everything's dark and there's one light, I'm getting more and more nervous for
I wanted to say like I'd be down to join, but I know I wouldn't have any reaction to anything that happens. So.
Are you not fazed by scary things?
No. As you can probably tell from this whole thing, I really don't get fazed by anything. Like
I'm kind of jealous. I get fazed by way too many things.
I like don't show emotions basically.
Is that something that is like your family's just all kind of like, we're pretty chill, or where do you think that comes from?
In terms of my family, like, we don't have any things that happen that would make us show emotion, to be honest.
Maybe it's a Staten Island thing.
I think it might be more of a thing of, like, I've had not as much, like, social interaction as most people, so I didn't really get used to showing emotion.
And is this due to your childhood in Russia? Maybe? Yeah, and it's hard to, if like most of your interaction now is done over the internet as well, it's like even harder. Okay, so Halloween is coming up. Did you ever go trick-or-treating as a kid? And if so, what did you dress up as?
I only remember one time, actually, to be honest. My memory isn't the greatest as well, but the one time I do remember going was when I dressed up as a zombie.
Ooh, nice. Yeah, I was religiously homeschooled as a kid, so I didn't get to like trick-or-treat because it was like Satan's holiday. Okay, so have you had any weird or slightly different jobs in your life?
So, okay, one of my jobs was, at this point I'd be down to call it a scam out of the city's money just to have us sitting around. So theoretically, what the job was supposed to be was they get a bunch of kids from the program that I was going to, and they have us go and clean up the beaches, right? But the problem is, they have 20 kids to go to one small beach on Staten Island. We go clean it up, it takes us about 30 minutes to an hour, and then we just sit around for the next 4 hours not doing anything and getting paid.
Sounds like a really nice job. And cleaning up beaches anyway. I mean, you're on the beach. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I would say it's more
Scam
of a...
or not.
more of wasting the city's money at that point, but...
I mean, that sounds like the city's issue to me.
Yeah. And I'll take it if, you know, they're given the offer.
That's pretty good. I worked at a department store. I don't feel like I've done anything that was like pretty exciting. I mean, I used to make TV commercials, aside from like big TV commercials, which is kind of exciting, like nothing from when I was younger. So number 3 was the neighborhood cat. Let's do number 4.
So through my grades 1 through 6, which I did in America, I went to 4 different schools, going through grades 1 through 6.
I'm kind of breaking my own rules because I want to ask more. I'm like, oh, interesting, but I need to just leave it because I want to be like, oh, were your parents in the military? Why is that? But then that would give it away. So I'm not saying shit.
I'll give you that. My parents were not in the military. My parents, they also had to, you know, move from Russia because of the previous point. Or I could be triple lying to you and I'm not from Russia.
That's not allowed. Only one lie is allowed. Okay, so if you had a time machine, would you go into the future or would you go into the past? And why?
First off, I would not go to the past at all because so many quality of life things that happens around now have just changed how everything is. I'd definitely go into the future. The problem is I don't know how far in the future I'd go. I'm not even sure if I'd go anywhere because you never know what happens in the future with all the shit that's going down right now.
You just get a time machine and you're like, it's just for looks.
Yeah. And with everything that's going on right now, you know, 100, 150 years from now, you never even know if the Earth's still going to be around or if it's going to be the same.
Yeah. You're like, give me back, give me back. Nah, I read so much science fiction, I'd definitely go into the future. Even if it's bad, just to 1, know, and 2, I feel kind of optimistic because I feel like science can solve most of our problems if we just let it.
Yeah, I'm more on the pessimistic side because nukes exist and I believe that at some point someone's eventually going to launch one
Be dumb.
somewhere. Yeah, basically.
Yeah. I did the wrong side.
Wait, there's a side to this? I just ran down straight to the middle.
All right, hit us with the final lie and or truth.
A few years back, there was a hurricane in my area, and it completely destroyed the basement of my house. Everything was completely flooded. There was 6 inches of water, I think, at the bottom of the basement.
That one sounds plausible because the geographical location of where you are, I do recall several hurricanes, and especially one real bad one recently. I think it's either 4 or 1.
I don't have them numbered like that.
Oh, okay, so 4 or 1 would be, 1 was the born in Russia, and you speak it at home, or 4 is the grades 1 through 6, you moved around to 4 different schools. Because I feel like the neighborhood rabbit and the neighborhood cat go together so well, although it would be so huge brain if neighborhood rabbit was true and then neighborhood cat, you're like, no, we never got a fucking pet again. That'd be huge brain. Oh, I don't know which one it is. Well, thanks for hanging with me. We will post the answer in the next G1 Insider when I get my next victim. Thanks for playing Spooky Forest with me. And
No problem.
And one really bad game of PvP because I haven't played in weeks.